Hello, hello. Good afternoon, everybody. Dirk Delirium here. Delirium Dirk or Dirk Delirium on Facebook. My friend Mo and I, one of my sponsee brothers, we just climbed up a mountain just outside of Charlotte, North Carolina, and we're going to do his step 2 up here. And that's pretty cool. And while we're up here, we decided, I'll get a close up of that. We get a lot of crap about, from people, picking up white chips. Oh, I feel so bad. Oh, I did it again. Oh, whatever. Man, here's the thing about white chips. Here's the thing about white chips. You just pick up as many as you need. And there's nothing wrong with that. We were talking on the way over here, and I told Mo, my wife asked me a couple nights ago, she said, when did you finally know it was over? And I told her when I had my last drink. And that's the truth. It took every single one of them. So, if you got to pick up another white chip, guess what? So be it. Nice. It ain't the end of the world. All right, so here's the deal. We're going to shoot step 5. You've already seen the series on Working the Steps Live. You saw step 1, 2, 3, and 4 already, or I hope you have. If not, back up. These things are in order for a reason. And this is probably going to be the shortest video segment that we are shooting. And yeah, this looks precarious. And we're going to talk about step 5. The hardest part really isn't, for me, it wasn't even writing it down the first time, although the first time I didn't write everything down. And I wasn't honest, and inevitably I ended up using again, drinking again, and that went on for quite a few more years. So I advise you to pay attention to what we said in step 4 and just do it fearlessly and thoroughly. If you think about it, write it down on paper. It's a housekeeping, it's a house cleaning. You only have to do it once in your life if you do it fearlessly and thoroughly. However, I choose, and this is my choice, to do mine again and again, because every time I work a 4th and a 5th step with a sponsee, I work my own as well. Being said, I'm just going to share a couple things from my original 2nd attempt at my 5th step. And today I'm sharing that with myself, God, of my understanding, and another human being. In this case, many of you that watch it, because I don't care. Nothing in here has any power over me today, and that's the cool thing. So I talked about again, if you think about it, write it down. My earliest, and it doesn't all have to be a resentment. It can be a resentment against yourself. It can be anything, that bothers you. And if it bothers you, it should be on paper. The very first thing that I listed was that I stole an eraser in preschool. I remember doing that. I remember taking it off the little shelf. I remember the cubby holes. I remember putting it in my pocket. And I remember knowing it was wrong, and feeling that shame and guilt, even though I couldn't have defined what those were as a preschooler, as a child. But I put it in my pocket and I took it, and I still remember that. And that was the very first thing I wrote down. I went down the list. My grandfather, I put sand in my hair at school, and apparently the school called him, and I was living with him at the time. My mother was away, and I don't know, I was probably 6, and he was scrubbing the sand out of my hair and calling me a little bastard, a little fucker, and why'd you do this and everything, and I didn't have an answer. I was just a kid, but I remembered it and bothered me. Okay, so to go back through when we do this inventory and we share it with someone, we always look for what our part was, what our part was in it. Well, what my part was clearly I put sand in my hair, you old dipshit, but kids will be kids. So there's not always a justified, means to an end. But if I remember it, it's going on paper, because I did hold a resentment against him. And again, I shared that. It has no weight or balance over me today. First girlfriend is on here. My stepmother, my father, little shit. He promised to take me camping in a cave up in the mountains in Denver when we lived there, and never did it. And I was pissed about it, and I still remember it. It was like a promise that he probably made, just kind of like, hey, let's go to the park today, and didn't ever think about it again. But to me, I did. And I thought for years, that fucker, he wasn't honest with me then, why will he be honest with me now? So those are the things that made paper. I went all the way through childhood friends. God, my list goes on, and I'm not going to share all this with you, but just to give you an example, and on, because I didn't want to leave anything out. That's my whole point of telling you to be thorough. Let's see, my stepfather is on here. I was in court when I was 18 years old, just turned 18, and judge told me to return with my parents. I told the judge, I came back 2 weeks later, of course, without my parents, and the judge said, "Where's your parents?" By the way, that was for buying alcohol with a fake ID that I made. Judge said, "Where's your parents?" I said, "Fuck you. I'm 18. I don't need parents. I'm an adult." I would not recommend that anybody ever say that to a judge. So anyway, I got smacked with a year's probation and fines, and also got locked up for being intoxicated in court. Back to this, my stepfather, he called him. My stepfather got on the phone in court in front of, I don't know, 100 people in there, and got on the loudspeaker on the phone and said, "That little bastard has been drinking since he was 10 or 11. He's an alcoholic. He's wrecked cars. He's wrecked our life. Throw the book at him." Boom, he slammed the phone down. That's a true story. That was what went on in court. And I got to tell you, you could hear a pin drop. And do you think I had a resentment over that? Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. Why was I there? Because I was buying alcohol with a fake ID and I got arrested. What part in it did I play? Well, as I got on in life, these things became a little more clear and evident than simply stealing an eraser. My dad comes up on here many times, of course, my mother. I was sent to military school. A lot of people from military school come on here. All the guys that fucked with me, physical hazing, mental hazing, that's on there. Stepmother again, first wife's parents, first wife. But you know what? I can honestly go back through all this and tell you what my role was in all those situations, and it was really simple. I was a practicing alcoholic. So all these things were simply things that I wanted to point blame on to somebody else and take it off of myself, when in fact I brought it on the whole time. So the whole point of step 5 is for one to do a fearless and searching moral inventory of ourselves, to get it down on paper, which I have done, and review it. So once this fifth step, and I'm actually backing up to the 4th, once it gets done, you review it a number of times yourself. Then when it comes time to share this, and I would strongly suggest that you share it with your sponsor. That is what I found most effective, because that's the one person I can be honest with about anything, and I know it's not going to go anywhere. When you share that, more than likely your sponsor would or should, and again, it's all suggestive, but should tell you, okay, now that you've done this, now I want you to go back home, because this is what it says in the book I follow. I want you to go back home, I want you to sit in a quiet place, and I want you to think about it and go back through it. Spend an hour. Don't spend any less than an hour. Go back through it. If there's anything you missed, pick up the phone and call me, and we'll figure it out. Now, are you ever going to get everything the first time? No, of course not, man. We're human beings. But you do the best job you can. I don't spend any longer with my guys on a 4-step inventory before we share it. I give them 2 weeks. People that are on a 4-step for 6 months and 8 months, those people aren't doing a damn thing, most likely. I'm going to do it tomorrow. I'm going to get to it. Come on, man. Really? 6 months? I mean, and if that's what it takes you and your sponsor's cool with it, so be it. But for me, I needed to get it down and get it out, because the longer I held on to it, and this is just me personally, the longer I had to carry that baggage. And for me, as an alcoholic and an addict, I wanted to drop that shit yesterday. And I found the sense of relief and serenity that came with sharing that 5th step with myself, my sponsor, and my God of my understanding, indescribably freeing. And that's probably the best way I can phrase that. You will have to experience it. Now, working these steps, you will be amazed before you are halfway through. I promise you that. I guarantee it, if you're fearless and thorough from the very start. And you'll have your own opinion, and you'll have your own lack of an explanation, and I can't wait for that to happen. I welcome your feedback and your comments. Again, this is step 5. This is probably the shortest video that we will be shooting. Next week we're going to shoot step 6, and I will say this as sure as I'm sitting in front of you, I spent more time on step 6 than I did on step 4. And that's, for me, again, fearless and thorough. So we appreciate you being here. I hope this helps somebody. I hope it helps one person. If it helps one person, then this is all worthwhile. And if it offends somebody because I feel the right to break my anonymity, which I do, and I don't give a shit, that's my right, my entitlement, my hopes is that it does help one person and maybe more. And if it does, then it's a good day. So I appreciate you guys. God bless you, whatever that God is. And hopefully you guys can get out and do something like this with your sponsees, because this is pretty cool stuff. Have a great day, and I look forward to talking to you soon.